This video is going to cover how to edit the home page on your brand new website. So first and foremost, the rule of thumb is no matter where you are in the world, as long as you have internet, to log into the site, you put into the navigation here on the URL, the website, which is now HTTPS, but it's commongirl.net, and then you put WP-admin. Once you do that, you'll see a nice login screen like this. You use your username and password, and once logged in, you'll see a generic page dashboard area like this. Whatever I don't cover in training, I suggest do not mess with or disregard. So there's a lot of things and alerts, etc. Don't worry about those. A lot of these things have already been calibrated for you. So once again, what we cover, please deal with. Whatever I don't, you can do your own research and or follow up with questions or concerns. But first of all, once you're logged in, we're going to cover today for this video how to edit the home page. And you'll notice that the home page is set up in kind of cell elements. So we have our slider, we have this area, quote area, and our video, and then what we call to action. So how do we edit that? So once you're logged in the left-hand side of the site, you'll see pages. I like to always have one tab that's open so I can see the site visually, like here. And then once we go into pages, you'll see everything's in chronological order. Now, at this point, the home page, front page, always disregard. The way that the site was built is that this is custom coded, so don't ever mess with this home page. If you try to, there's nothing even in there. It's calibrated to pull from these sub pages. So for the slider, which is taking care of the first top part of the site, you'll click slider and you'll hit edit. Once you do that, you'll see a page like this and you'll see the slider. Now, here you'll see your logo. You'll see how the cell element's already spilt out. So once again, if I don't cover it, I really wouldn't mess with it, but if you ever want to, you can mess around with this 100%. It's all customizable, but you'll notice what you see here is what's going on the front end. So you'll notice the logo, and then here is an icon that has a call to action. These are all built, set up for you as you see here. So boom, and then this icon. Now, to change that, it's as easy as clicking on here. And now at this point, you can edit the photo, you can put text in here, you can change this, etc. There's tons of bells and whistles that this thing can do. But once again, if it's already been calibrated for the CSS and things of that nature, I would leave it. And then also, the most important part is that video that's playing in the background. And this is universal for any area in WordPress that has an image and or video playing behind the content. Is in the upper right hand corner, you'll see this pencil. You click this pencil, and you'll see that it's calibrated to sit here and say use video background, and it's clicked yes. This video is what's pulling and playing in the background. So you copy and paste the YouTube link and it will automatically populate in the background. Now if you ever want to remove the video, you would unclick that, and then whatever content you put here will populate, and that's kind of how you mess around with the home page of the header area. And we're going to move right along. Now, underneath there, you'll notice that, oh, and also too, my apologies, once you're done editing, and you may already know this, but once you're done editing ever on WordPress, you have two options. One, you can hit preview changes and see what it looks like, and or you can hit update. Now, in your case, as soon as you hit update, it will take effect right away, and or if you ever want to save it or just move along by posting at a later point, you can change the publishing time. But most importantly, no matter what you do when you're editing in these cell elements, you have to hit save changes, and then once you hit save changes, then you have to hit update in order to see the effect. Now, moving on, you'll see here in the back admin, you're going to see a lot of areas that are set to draft. That's because this way, the site that was built out, these are areas that we didn't want to use yet, but we want to save them. So when and if the time comes to play with them, you can sit here and see what section this was. And remember, we had this area. Always disregard this header. This is just for internal purposes. This is what you would see on that section of the site. So here is what we had on there originally, and we didn't want to mess with that yet. So when the time comes, you would set this to not draft, but to published by going to quick edit, hitting publish, and now that area on the home page will take effect. But for this purpose, everything that says draft are areas that we don't have visible. So the next area that is visible is the quote. So to edit that, you hit edit page, and you'll notice this is the quote area. Now we have a pretty customized area here. it is pulling. Oh, I'm sorry, this is actually before the quote. That is right here. Presentation is what's underneath the slider. So this section right here, if you ever want to change this text, change this button, etc., that's by clicking on the presentation page, and you'll notice here's the text, here's the button. To mess with it, click the green button here with the pencil, and you'll notice here's your text. You can do anything you want with it. Once again, once you're done, hit Save Changes, and or here, you can go ahead and mess with this, change the background button, change what it text is, change where it points to. It's pretty self-explanatory on this one. You can have some fun with it, changing the shape of it, etc. But once again, all this has pretty much been calibrated for you, but that's how you change that section. So moving along, underneath there is where we now have the quotations. And it takes a little bit of a rhythm and rhyme, like what area reflects what section of the site. So you can be, pragmatic about it and say slider, this is the presentation, and now the quote. Now this page is a little bit unique because what we're doing here is we've got an image carousel. So you click on that and you'll see here all your images. You can drag and drop them once they've been populated, change the flow, and or add some, remove some, change the size of it. And then if you wanted them to do anything, there's a ton of other bells and whistles, but this is once again been calibrated for you. But to be able to change and add this imagery, that's how we're doing that there. Once again, hitting Save Changes when done. And sometimes you'll see some blank spaces and things like that I've built out. I've done that sometimes for purposes of giving us some, for design purposes. So don't ever be confused of like, hey, what is that? Just, once again, it's been calibrated for you. And you'll notice here as well, there's black space behind it. If you ever want to change that, once again, anytime you're dealing with a cell element and you want to edit the behind, it's this area here, clicking there. You'll notice there's no video selected because obviously there's no video. But in design options, you'll see that background color has been selected to be the entire background. So this could be changed from being a solid color. You could click here and or add an image. And then if it's going to be contained, repeated, cover, etc., very much like a desktop on a computer. But once that's done, once again, Save Changes and or update. We'll close with the contact area here, or we call it this call to action. Same thing. You're going to go scroll down. You're going to see call to action. And then the call to action is pretty cool. Now, rule of thumb, if you ever see script and it's white on the front end, that means in the back end, you won't see it until you click on the cell element and kind of highlight it. Once you've highlighted it, you can then mess with it, but the rule of thumb with WordPress is pretty cool. Once this text is selected, you can go to text versus just visual, which I do, and you'll see now, disregard all the mumbo jumbo because this is code. But now you can mess with the text and see what's going on. But you'll notice I coded it to be white, hence it's tough to see on the inside area. So that's way to mess with text that's white on the front end. Make sure you've selected it, highlighted it, and then you can go to text and mess with it. So whatever you change there, automatically after hitting Save Changes will take effect and hitting Update. And then the same thing here. Here's your button. You can change the settings, what it says, where it goes to. And then once again, we have it calibrated to having a purple static background, and that's in the design options here. Just like the other one, you'll click on that pencil, go here, and bada bing, you'll see that. And then most importantly, if you ever want to change your background and the cell elements is what I showed you before, so that's what we're playing here with this. That will conclude the home page and the editing on that. Oh, well, actually, I'll throw this in there. Your social icons. At any point, if you want to change those, we're using a tool in the plugins area, so you'll be logged into the site. You'll hit Install Plugins. Here are all your plugins, and here are your floater menu. That's where this social portals are. So we'll hit Settings. This is the one that's already calibrated for you, so you'll hit Edit. And once you've hit Edit, you'll notice here are the actual, on the left-hand side menu, these are your buttons that you have. You have Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Tumblr, and if you wanted to add one and or change these are how you do that. Now it's really simple. If you ever want to change the icon, you can do so here. I disregard the label, item type I disregard, and then where it's going to point to, the color of that button, which has already been color matched to me, and then once again, same thing throughout the course. So once that's done, you go ahead and hit Update, and those social portals on the front end will take effect right away. So that's how you edit the home page of your website and social portals.